USA has developed themselves some goddamn laser weapons. USA has some insane weaponry. I'm not talking only about the laser weapons. There is also this thing called the Railgun. It's a huge ass gun that shoots through everything, uses electromagnetic fields to propel the bullet, which goes through anything. Steel, iron, full out ships, it just poof, everything. Can shoot through Earth. Actually, no, you can't shoot through Earth. But still, it's a strong weapon. So today we're gonna watch what is this laser gun, what is this railgun, how can US afford them. They're like these future weapons. The future is now, guys. And in the middle of the video, we have some competition, unfinished competition. This competition of the Estonian Youtuber Cup. Right now, Washington is winning. But Texas will make some big changes today. Wow. See, that was the hit, right? You can't even see the laser. It's not like in Star Wars movies. Like, a laser is flying. It's so fast. Speed of light, obviously, so fast you can't even see it. So you're cruising towards this US ship, right? You want to take it down because you're a terrorist. And suddenly something hits you. You don't know what it is, but you are exploding to pieces. And you don't like it. That's the laser weapon. It's crazy. A drone flying overhead, or oh, they're shooting down a drone. Boom! The strikes are silent and invisible, and lasers move literally at the same speed of light. Ah! We need this stuff. We need this stuff against Russia right now. US, bring us those laser weapons, please. We will pay you in potatoes, because we have potatoes. We don't have money. We give you a lot of potatoes. Please give us these laser weapons.
Operationally, it works just like a laser pointer. There's a chamber inside with special materials that release photons.
Oh yeah, photons. I love them, photons.
If
Extremely
you're looking
accurate.
At a boat coming in over the water, you can target exactly the engine and take out exactly the engine and not necessarily damage anything else. So. Oh
yeah, that's actually, sorry I paused this much. It's really good, because if ships are expensive as hell. If your enemy ship is really high tech, for example Russia or China is attacking and US has this laser weapon, they can just take down the weapon systems on that ship and the motor, the engine, leaving everything else working, so they can capture the crew and they can have another ship. You know, ships are expensive. I'm sure US would like to take over Chinese ships also. They don't have to blow it to haywire, they can just take it over.
And that type of precision weapon work is something that you don't really get with conventional weapons, because there tends to be more collateral damage.
It's useful against a variety of threats, surface or air. It's not a niche weapon system like some other weapons that we have, you know, throughout the military, where it's only good against air contacts or it's only good against surface targets.
This can be used against anything. Something flies, you can shoot it down with a laser. Something floats towards your way, terrorists, you can shoot them, destroy their ships. Even on the ground. On land warfare you can use this weapon. It's good for anything. And if in the future space wars happen, it's perfect for that situation, because it will look like the movies. It does seem like just an explosion, but it's much more than that. I don't know how it works exactly, but I'm imagining they are forcing so much photons, so much energy into one tiny area that it turns into heat, basically. And that focused condensed light is forced out by a very narrow ray. That ray will disperse so much heat that it will explode, like metals will explode, boiling so fast, basically. I think it works like that, I'm not quite sure. My friends, the moment has arrived. Last week I announced the Estonian Youtuber Cup competition. Now we will find out how it will continue. We have arrived at the boards of fame. I have my two magical markers. I have the name here on an old school piece of paper, because everything we do here is old school. No electronics, just an old school board competition. I will read the names. Cue the music. Chad Seals, Texas. Ooh, Another one for Texas. Texas has 8 already, Washington has 9. Ooh, it's a close one. Perry Esping, Texas. Oh, we have a tie. Philip Engen, North Dakota. Or is it Philip Engine? I'm quite sure it's not Engine, it's Engen. This is a very first for North Dakota. James Hammond, Pennsylvania. James Hammond. Ain't that the guy from Top Gear? James Hammond. Right, as the Top Gear guy. Thank you, Top Gear man, for ordering the cup. Pennsylvania. That's the second one from Pennsylvania. Andrew O'Neill, New Jersey. O'Neill, that's Irish. Andrew O'Neill. Very Irish. That's the 5th one for New Jersey. I can pull the line. That satisfies me. Ooh, yeah. Alright, the first place is shared by Washington, 9, and Texas, 9. Oh, that's tense. The third place is shared by 3 states. Ohio, Minnesota, and New Jersey. All of them have 5. So that's the first 3 places. Things will change a lot in the next video, I promise you that. Back to the video. We have more orders coming up in the next video. The tables will tilt. I am not going to tell you which way. You'll find out in the next one. But now we'll watch a video about the railgun. I don't know if any other armies have railgun, but there's a weird video about it. It's a weird ass weapon. Looks like one of those Nazi huge weapons. These Wunder weapons. I don't know how you call them in German, but it looks like something like that. Let's see.
This is the US military's most powerful cannon, the electric...
Okay, the music and the style of it sounds like a regular commercial. It's like, buy this home utensil, it's like this commercial. But it's a damn weapon that can destroy anything, and they have this music and like this 2000s advertising music behind it. It's so weird, it gives me a weird vibe. This is a killing machine here.
Magnetic railgun, which can shoot up to 100 nautical miles at Mach 7.5 and impacting the target at Mach 5, using only energy as its propellant. The high-velocity projectile will destroy land, sea and air targets purely from its kinetic energy, rather than with conventional explosive blades. So what is a railgun? Well, the EM railgun launcher is a long-range weapon that fires projectiles using electricity instead of chemical propellants like gunpowder. Magnetic fields created by high electrical currents accelerate a sliding metal conductor or armature between 2 rails to launch projectiles at 4,500 miles per hour. Basically, it shoots a big solid metal projectile at very high speeds at vast distances and does damage using kinetic energy, only using electricity to shoot.
Tomahawk cruise missiles, 550 miles per hour. Alright, sound, 768 miles per hour. Artillery shell, 2,000 miles per hour. Railgun projectile, 5,600 miles per hour. Oh, I could still catch that bullet though. I'm like, boom, here it is, caught it. Or Chuck Norris could do it at least. Or Teddy Roosevelt, does that matter?
The railgun works by storing power for several seconds, generated from an external source, like a ship. After the
Look how it's waving, the air is waving.
32 megajoules of energy, its capacitors send an electrical pulse down 2 long rails, one negatively charged and one positively charged, generating an electromagnetic field that fires the projectile along the 2 rails at up to Mach 7.
Imagine if a human gets hit by that. Imagine you're carrying like in the US you're allowed to carry concealed, right? You can try to carry that concealed. Hey, I got my own railgun. I have a license for that, mate. Don't worry about it. You can take like, say hello to my little friend. 5,600 miles per hour. Boom! Scarface will destroy anybody with that gun. It's a crazy weapon. You know what? These laser weapons are fine and everything, but we want one of those also. Please, US, please send me one of those weapons. We need them for protection, alright? We're a poor country, ex-Soviet country. We have only potatoes. We need the weapon.
Extreme speed, the warhead impacts with high kinetic energy, ripping a hole through whatever it was aimed at. The 25-pound projectile is a non-explosive bullet, like a big dart, inside an aluminium alloy casing or sabot. that falls away after the projectile leaves the barrel.
Okay, so if it's a non-exploding and it's just a dart about this big, what can it do to ships? I understand you shoot it at the engine, but even then you might not destroy the engine. Like, it's that big. If ship engines are huge, if something that big hits it, it might not destroy it. What's the point of it? To destroy tanks, ships, to shoot through ships? Like, this hole in a ship doesn't mean anything. You can just cover it up. They have tactics for it nowadays. It doesn't do much. Like, what is it this good for?
The biggest advantage of an EM railgun on a naval vessel over traditional explosive round weapons is the safety aspect, as no propellant is required to fire the projectile, and no explosive rounds are stored in the ship's magazine. Railguns have been around a long time in sci-fi TV shows and movies. The most recent I can think of is from the TV show The Expanse, where all the big military spaceships all use railguns, and in the 2009 movie Transformers 2, a naval vessel uses a railgun to shoot a transformer off the pyramid. But the EM railgun has two major complications. The weapon takes an enormous amount of power to fire, and it literally tears itself apart with use. The railgun has already been in development and testing for over a decade, with total cost exceeding $500 million. In its current form,
$500 million! Oh my god! Oh, a lot of money. Ooh, no, second thoughts, I don't think we can pay that amount in potatoes. Yeah, unfortunately I have to decline this offer. Thank you, USA.
railgun simply requires too much power for widespread use. The problem is, the only ships that will be able to generate the gargantuan 25 megawatts of power required to fire the railgun are the Zumwalt class destroyers, which will use Rolls-Royce turbine generators to produce as much.
It's weird that ships use Rolls-Royce engines and some planes do use them also. Rolls-Royce, like the most luxurious car in the world, but the ships use its engines. I know it's built engines before it built cars. I know the history, but it's still weird to hear about it.
78 megawatts of power for the ship, but only 3 of these technologically advanced warships will be produced. A bigger problem is that the railgun will shred its internal components to bits if it is fired enough. You can see parts of the rails themselves erupting from the weapon as plasma when it is fired. The projectile is leaving at incredibly high velocities, and it accelerates down the barrel. The contact between the sabot and the rails simply erodes the gun itself.
Oh, so the materials need to be a lot stronger for not to be erosion. Because these are high speeds, high energies, it will destroy anything that is not the strongest metals in the world.
Short-term solution is to develop a railgun that uses less power. An EM railgun that could fire a projectile at 2,500 miles per hour instead of 4,600 miles per hour and hit a target at 50 nautical miles instead of 100 nautical miles would still be incredibly useful, especially if the Navy could mount the weapon on existing warships. A less powerful railgun still has all the advantages of being cheaper to fire and removing dangerous explosives from a ship.
Cool stuff, cool stuff. If you're from USA, write in the comments if you have a railgun in the home. Of course you do. All of the Americans have weapons and ray guns, and they all have machine guns and anti-aircraft weaponry and navy ships and everything. This is the US, everybody has guns. Because that's the stereotypes, and that stereotypes is definitely true. Of course it is. Well, my friends, thank you for watching. Thank you for getting the cup. We do not yet have all of the states represented on the board, on the Hall of Fame. The Board of Fame needs your state. It needs your support. Texas is gaining strongly on Washington, but there are some other states, I know, I have the statistics, that are gaining. And in the next video you will see, maybe Texas and Washington are not the only contestants who can win. Please become a patron of this channel. In the next video I will read out all of the patrons. And as always, my friends, until my next video, stay cool and bye bye.